Yo, my mom threw me in the garbage.
You were found in a trash bin?
He shed some tears. There was something about him and that story that was just really honest.
We hear from him that his parents didn't want him. Each of the G's.
This episode is really good. It's called Death by Fame. This one is about a man named Barron. He's a reality TV star. He's on the show called From G's to Gents. Farnsworth Bentley hosted the show. It's about gangsters who turn into gentlemen. He was contestant number 4, and he was very popular on the show. I remember this episode in particular when he was talking about how he was abandoned as a child and his mom threw him in the garbage. I believe he did get a lot of sympathy and empathy from the viewers because of his rough childhood and how he grew up, and people wanted him to win and to change his life around because he didn't have a good upbringing. He had a tough upbringing, and in this episode, it basically exposed the fact how he joined the show to escape a crime that he committed. He had unalived and robbed somebody, and a person who knew him recognized him from the show and ratted him out. This is a really good episode. You can find it on Discovery Plus. It's called Death by Fame, or Fame by Death. It's season 3, episode 7. Please like, share, comment, and follow for more. Thank you.
And to this day, it's 15 years later, anytime somebody says that they're from Miami, I say, the Trio 5. And I'll almost...
He also...
So this was a good episode. This is called Death by Fame. This is season 3, episode 7. This one is about a reality TV star named Barron. He grows up in Miami, and he tries out for this show called G's and Gents. It's an old show that used to come on VH1. It was hosted by Farnsworth Bentley. He was a popular person on the TV show. However, the reason why he joined the TV show was to escape a crime that he had committed. He had unalived somebody and robbed somebody, and they are trying to solve the case back in Miami. However, he is on the show. Someone discovers him on the show and basically rats him out. This is a good episode. It talks about his life story, how he grew up, and why he ended the way he ended up. If you are interested, it's called Death by Fame. It's season 3, episode 3, and you can find it on Discovery Plus.
I don't change. It's either gonna be 2 things: prison or death.
So this is a really good show. It's called Death by Fame. It's season 3, episode 7. This one is about a guy named Barron. He was a reality star. He was on a show called G's to Gents. Farnsworth Bentley hosted the show. It's a show that came on VH1. He was very popular on the show. However, he held a secret that he had unalived somebody in his past. However, it came back to haunt him when the police, they were after him, and a person who was involved in the unaliving basically stated that he was a part of it, and they had recognized him from the show. So when he comes back to Miami, the police question him and interrogate him. This episode is very good. You can find it on Discovery Plus. It's called Death by Fame. It's season 3, episode 7. And it's about Barron, who's from the show G's from Gents. And he's also from Miami, Florida. Please like, share, comment, and follow for more. Thank you.
She and Mr. Cologne had done a plan where she was going to lure the victim, Mr. Vera, out of his house. Then they would rob Mr. Vera.
Okay, so this is called Death by Fame. This is season 3, episode 7. This one is about a man named Barron. He was on this reality show called G's to Gents. It came on VH1 and Farnsworth Bentley hosted it. So he grew up, I guess, like in a bad neighborhood and had a bad childhood. And he went on this show. However, he's hiding a secret that he had unalived someone. In this clip, it basically explains how his friend Stephanie knew him in high school and also middle school. They knew each other. She knew this man who was a painter, and he had a lot of money. I believe she said that he had like $500,000 in his home, and she basically set him up to be robbed. She claimed that she didn't know that he was going to be unalived. So he was unalived by Barron and also by 2 other men who are unidentified. Barron, he's going to deny that it happened. He lost the contest in G's for Gents, so he has to head back to Miami, and that's where the police, they pick him up at and interrogate him. He's denying everything. They can't arrest him there, so they would have to get someone who can basically get him to confess to the murder. And they're going to use a person who's close to him, I guess a person who he thought he could trust. If you enjoyed this clip, please like, share, comment, and follow for more. It's called Death by Fame. It's season 3, episode 7, and the episode's on Discovery Plus.
Barron Cologne appeared on a show from G's to Gents on MTV. It's pretty stupid. You know, you're basically saying, I'm a bad guy, look at me. That's what you're basically pointing out.
Barron was.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that statement. I'm not sure exactly where his headset was at when he decided to join that reality TV show, knowing that he had just committed a crime. It wasn't like a petty crime. It was like you had unalived somebody and robbed them. And on top of that, you had co-defendants who could basically identify you on the show and say, there he is. They could have picked him up. The police officer could have went to the show or notified the show that this person is a suspect, but I guess the officer said that they didn't do that because they didn't have, like, I guess, evidence to basically confirm that he actually did it. So that's why they didn't pick him up. However, I just think that it was dumb for him to do that, but maybe he just wanted to, I guess, live at the moment. I don't know, maybe it was always his dream to be on TV. But if you enjoyed this clip, please like, share, comment, and follow. It's called G's to Gents. It's on, no, the show was called G's to Gents that Barron was on, but the actual show, this show, is called Death by Fame. It's season 3, episode 7, and it's on Discovery Plus.
Barron was a cool kid. He was a sweet boy. He didn't feel like a gangster. I didn't know about Barron being involved in any kind of murder. I don't know that anybody on our show had any idea that Barron had such trials going on in his life.
Okay, so this show is called Death by Fame. It's season 3, episode 7. This one is of Barron. So he joins this show called G's to Gents, and he becomes very popular on the show. It's hosted by Farnsworth Bentley. It came on MTV. And he becomes very popular. However, he is hiding the secret that he had unalived somebody 2 years prior and robbed them. And the police know who he is because his co-defendant basically pointed him out and told on him and said that he was a part of it. And they have interrogated him. However, they can't arrest him because they don't have enough evidence. The network isn't aware that this man unalived someone, and they did a background check on him, but his background came clean. He only had petty thefts. It was nothing serious. If you enjoyed this clip, please like, share, comment, and follow. It's called Death by Fame. It's season 3, episode 7. It's on Discovery Plus.
People have literally been throwing you away your whole life. I'm not going to throw you away. Membership has been denied.
305, checking out.
Okay, so this is Death by Fame. It's season 3, episode 7. This one's about Barron. He was a reality TV star, and he was on the show called G's for Gents. I'm sorry, G's to Gents. It came on MTV and was hosted by Farnsworth Bentley. And he was very popular on the TV show. A lot of people liked him. However, throughout the TV show and the season, it came out that he was an alcoholic. He used to drink a lot of alcohol. And there was one episode where he threw this guy in a pool. I believe he did it because, you know, as far as drinking a lot of alcohol, it's because he know what he had done in his past. As far as unaliving somebody, and maybe he just couldn't live with that secret. However, the police and the state attorney's office, they do recognize him from the show. And when he gets back to Miami, they interrogate him. He is basically, you know, let go from the show. He's the fourth contestant, and Farnsworth Biffley lets him go from the show so he doesn't win a $100,000 prize. The reason why he wanted to go on the show was for lawyer fees. So, I mean, I guess that's what he said. That was his reason as to why he went on the show. But if you enjoy this clip, please like, share, comment, and follow for more. It's called Death by Fame, Season 3, Episode 7. You can find it on Discovery Plus.
Investigators have a man by the name of Jerry, that he's a childhood friend of Barron Cologne. But more importantly, he's been arrested for a firearms charge and is facing deportation.
Feel that if he's wired up and meets with Barron and gets him to admit that he participated in this murder, he'll get to avoid deportation altogether.
Okay, so this episode's going to be really good. It's called Death by Fame. This one's about a reality star, TV star named Barron Cologne. He was on the show called Gents to Gentlemen. It aired on MTV, and Farnsworth Bentley hosted the show. He was a very popular member on the show. However, 2 years earlier, prior to that, he had unalived someone and robbed someone. And the police or in the state attorney's office, they recognized him because the co-defendant, Stephanie, she said that she and him set up the robbery. And she claimed that she didn't know that he was going to unalive this guy. And she also stated that there were two other guys who were there as well. They were unidentified. She didn't know who they were. I guess they were his friends. But anyways, they found him through the show. They interrogated him. He denied it. And they couldn't arrest him because they didn't have evidence to arrest him. However, they met up with his friend. His friend was named, I believe, Rios. And Rios claimed that he didn't know anything about the unaliving. They didn't believe him. And Rios was facing deportation. So in order for him to not get deported, they had him wire up, and they basically wanted to get a confession from Barron that he did the crime. If you enjoyed this clip, please like, share, comment, and follow for more. It's called Death by Fame. It's Season 3, Episode 7, and you can find it on Discovery Plus.
Capture a big surprise.
But they found a pistol, bro.
Barron says he'd been part of a botched robbery a few years before and that somebody ended up dead.
Okay, so this is called Death by Fame. This is Season 3, Episode 7. So this is about Barron. He was a reality TV star. He was on the show called G's to Gents, hosted by Fonz Bentley. And Barron, he had committed a unaliving prior to him joining the show. He knew, the police knew he was a suspect. He also knew that there were co-defendants. However, for some reason, he decided to go on the show. The show was unaware that he had committed this crime. However, when he went back to Miami, they had interrogated him and he denied everything. They didn't have any evidence, so they had to let him go. They got in contact with one of his close friends named Rios, and Rios was facing deportation, and they made a deal with him that if he got Barron to confess to the crime, that he wouldn't be deported. So he gets wired, and they're like driving, and they're just talking, and the robbery comes up. Barron, he admits to unaliving the man who he robbed. He claimed that he didn't want to unalive him. However, the man was very tall and strong, and Barron's like kind of skinny. It's very skinny and kind of short. So there's no way that there's no way that he could have fought this man and won. And there were two other men with him. The two other men tried to beat him up, and Barron shot him. He unalived him. So he admitted to it. And in the tape, the friend Rio says, "Oh, you gotta thank God because you gotten away with it all these years for about 4 years, um, and you haven't been arrested." And Barron says, "Well, I watched this show called Snapped, and police they solve crimes later on. They solve the mystery." So I find it ironic because he was speaking basically to the guy who was gonna put him behind bars because he was wired. I guess he trusted him, and he told after all those years, and maybe it was just eating him up inside, and he had to tell someone. However, he got arrested because of that. But if you enjoyed this clip, please like, share, comment, and follow. It's called Death by Fame. It's season 3, episode 7.
Barron Colon goes to trial. Stephanie Concepcion testifies against him, and for doing that, she's given a 15-year sentence for her cooperation. Barron is convicted of first-degree murder and is facing life in prison.
Okay, so this is the final part of Death by Fame. This is about the reality star named Barron. He was on this show called G's to Gents. It was on MTV, and Farnsworth Bentley hosted it. He was very popular on the show. However, 2 years prior to that, he had unalived a man and robbed him. For some reason, I guess maybe he thought the cops wouldn't catch on to him. The cops watched the show, and so the state attorney's office watched the show, and they recognized him. When he lost the battle in the show, he went back to Miami, and the police interrogated him. He denied everything, and the police couldn't arrest him because they didn't have any evidence. They used his friend, Rios, who known him, and they basically stated if you don't want to get deported, you have to try to get a confession out of him, stating that, you know, he did unalive this man 4 years prior. And sure enough, Barron, he does admit to it. He doesn't know that Rios is wired. He talks about the unaliving, how it went down, and how he didn't mean to unalive the victim, but he did it because the victim was much stronger and bigger than him, and he knew he couldn't fight him. And I guess he thought maybe the victim would beat him to death. So he ends up shooting him and unaliving him. The co-defendant, Stephanie, she was the one who set up the robbery. However, she got 15 years behind bars, and Barron got 30 years behind bars. The unidentified man, the only one was court. I'm not sure how much time he got, but the other one was never court. But if you enjoyed this clip, please like, share, comment, and follow. This show was very good. It was sad. I do feel sad for the victim. He didn't deserve to lose his life. And I do feel sad, kind of sad for Barron because of his childhood, how, you know, he was raised and how he grown up. However, if you do the crime, you gotta do the time. So, I mean, I guess he will get out, I guess, in 2040, if he's on good behavior. But the show is called Death by Fame. It's season 3 and it's episode 7. And you can find it on Discovery Plus. Please like, share, comment, and follow for more. Thank you.